Let's get to the stimulus now and talk about some breaking news from the White House. We did hear from the president on a second stimulus. Now look, all of this is being shrouded in the fact that the president just came off a pretty awful trip to Oklahoma. By all regards, Republicans in the White House were upset about it. Republicans in the party were upset about how bad the performance was out in Oklahoma at Tulsa at the big rally. With massive unemployment numbers right now and all eyes on this July jobs number, you know, the reason I think the White House is pushing for a second huge stimulus is because they know riding into November, this could be do or die time for re-election. You can call it what you want. I've covered politics for a long time. It doesn't take a genius to see what's going on. So here's the front page this morning of the New York Post. And sure enough, Trump supports a second very generous coronavirus stimulus package. As he says, bigger and better than ever. It's going to be bigger and better than we've ever seen. And so yesterday, or just a short time ago, President Trump was speaking with Joe St. George from the Scripps Network. And he had an interview on the White House lawn. He tweeted out about the interview about this. President Trump commits to a second stimulus. He says deals would be announced in the coming weeks. The president would not tell me how much of a check Americans will receive. And that's the great question. How much of this check will we receive? Will Americans get in the form of a direct payment to, into their bank accounts? Now, the thing is, we were questioning whether or not this check would only come as a back to work incentive. But as you'll hear from Joe St. George, a lot of people are out of work and their jobs have permanently gone. Will those people be helped? Will we see a second check? Listen to the president's words. In his own words, no fake news, no clickbait. This is the president saying yes.
I have a lot of viewers in Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, who are still struggling economically, sir. They spent all of that first stimulus check. Are you going to get them a second stimulus check?
Yeah, we are. Look, we had this...
When are you going to get it?
We had this going better than anybody's ever seen before. We had the best job numbers, the best economics, the best economy we've ever had. And then we had the virus come in from China, and now we're rebuilding it again. We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. And
how much? How much? People want to know.
You'll find out about it. You'll find out.
When are you going to do it? When are you going to announce it?
I think over the next, I think it's going to be bipartisan. I think it's going to be over the next couple of weeks, probably.
Over the next couple of weeks. It'll be very generous. And President Trump just a week ago saying it'll be bigger, better than we've ever seen. Bigger, better than we've ever seen. Of course, a huge piece of that would be the payroll tax cut. But did you hear the president say yes? So if anyone out there, I saw a news headline this morning says, no, the president did not say yes to second checks. I mean, what world are we living in where you literally hear I'm going to play it again, where the president says yes to checks, direct checks to the American people and a second stimulus, and very generous, very large. Listen again so that there's no confusion. No one can say fake news. Listen to the president once again.
I have a lot of viewers in Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, who are still struggling economically, sir. They spent all of that first stimulus check. Are you going to get them a second stimulus check?
Yeah, we are. Look, we had this...
When are you going to get it?
We had this going better than anybody's ever seen before. We had the best job numbers, the best economics, the best economy we've ever had. And then we had the virus come in from China, and now we're rebuilding it again. We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. And
very good, very generous. And yes, we are going to have additional checks. Now, let's parse this a little bit further, shall we? And dive a little deeper into what this means. Because it may be that the check he might be referring to would be just a direct back-to-work style check. I don't think that that's the case. I just don't think the president right now, given what he's facing, would have that as the only form of stimulus for those to get back to work. Look, unemployment benefits are set to run out in a few weeks. We understand in these congressional negotiations that they want to have some sort of bonus for you to get back to work. Now, I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm saying that probably will happen. But I'm saying I believe that there will be a second direct payment to those people who have been hammered the hardest, whose job is now gone. There will be a second check in that form. Now, we don't know the price tag. We don't know if it'll be $1,000, $1,200, $2,000. So anybody out there that's saying they know the price tag on that is lying. getting you to click on a video or click on an article. We don't know the number. We do not know that number. Okay? Period. Zero information on that, other than what we have from the HEROES Act sitting on the Senate's desk at the moment, which calls for an additional $1,200 per person, plus an additional $1,200 per dependent. We have members of the Senate also calling for $2,000 per month for the rest of the year. That's likely not going to happen at all. We've heard from a number of senators saying that's really dead on arrival. Mitt Romney and others have said that no way. So we do not know a dollar amount yet. Nothing has been finalized. If someone tells you that something has been finalized, they are lying. That's fake news. So this is an election year. And Charles Gasparino has some great sources. He's a former colleague of mine. And he just got word from some different congressional sources on this exact stimulus structure. But before he goes into that, he was talking to my old buddy Neil Cavuto about about why this is so important for the president. And with the employment rate at where we are right now, this is why the White House is calling for this. Listen to Charles Gasparino on that point about the 8% unemployment.
It may be growing because we are talking about another stimulus. There's no doubt that both sides agree, both Republicans and Democrats. Republicans for different reasons than Democrats. Democrats want to get aid to states. They want to essentially rebuild the infrastructure of states that have gotten decimated by the lockdowns. Republicans, quite frankly, they think that the one way they can get Donald Trump reelected is if the economy starts improving even more. If we get that October jobs report, which is key right before the election, get that unemployment number down to 9 or 8%, they think they have a shot.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and I told you yesterday, no president has ever been reelected with an 8% unemployment rate. It's not going to happen. And so they're circling the wagons right now in the White House. You know, the White House was all excited about this Tulsa, Oklahoma event. It was, by all accounts, a disaster. In fact, a couple of members of the president's staff contracted coronavirus. Two aides who were at the event got coronavirus. To add insult to injury, it was not, 6,200 people were there. And I saw one person last night trying to get into an argument with me on comments that people were turned away and they weren't allowed to get in. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. They had an overflow situation, a 40,000 spaced arena next door for overflow that they closed it up because no one came. Now, I'm not saying this is a reflection on President Trump. I'm saying I think it's a reflection on the coronavirus. And people are not yet willing to put their health at risk in such a large way. I think that they overestimated how many people would show up. So forget that. Forget the event. Forget, what unfolded out in Tulsa. The numbers are bad. And everyone always points to the leadership during a crisis, both good and bad. You do not get reelected if unemployment is over 8%, and it's well above that right now. So in a way, for us to get unemployment down to below 8% by election day is going to take a massive stimulus. This is exactly why the president is calling for a generous stimulus. And some Republicans are reluctant in the White House to do it. Or some Republicans in the Senate are reluctant to do it because they're not up for re-election. Mitch McConnell, of course, running for re-election. He's facing a big battle right now in Kentucky. All eyes on Kentucky next week because of the primary there. Did I say next week? Yeah, the Kentucky primary. All eyes on that primary. Actually today, right? Yeah, I think it's today. Huge numbers are expected in Kentucky. It's going to be an interesting day to watch in the Kentucky primary. Those running for re-election right now. And I truly believe that that's why the president is calling for this massive stimulus. Okay, so what will be in this stimulus? Well, this framework is starting to come together. We get a little bit more every day. Now we're getting a price tag. Was it going to be $1 trillion? Was it going to be $2 trillion? Guess what? We now know it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.25 trillion. Charles Gasparino with some congressional reporting on this. Again, one of my former colleagues. Take a listen to the reporting on what he's found out about the next stimulus.
Here's what we got. We're talking about, when you look at both sides, it's probably going to come out in the middle at about $1.25 trillion. That's what congressional sources are telling us, lobbyists who work with these congressional sources are telling us. So that's the kind of number we're talking, trillion plus. It's interesting that a lot of people I know keep saying there's going to be two bills, an infrastructure bill and this bill. What I'm hearing is when everything gets done, it's likely to be in one. It's hard to get two major pieces of legislation passed, on an economic issue like this, given the congressional schedule. So it's likely to be all in one. And it's going to be traditional infrastructure, roads, bridges. Obviously, that provides some aid to states like Illinois, New York, California that got hammered by the shutdowns. But also, we understand there's going to be a rural broadband build out. If you covered the T-Mobile Sprint merger like I did, the ups and downs of that, this is a big thing. They want rural areas of the country to get broadband. That could be in this package. At least they're talking about it right now. We're hearing the spending package could include another round of individual stimulus checks. Again, if the economy starts taking off, maybe that gets negotiated down. But also, there's reasons why Republicans like people with stimulus checks. That increases consumer spending. That is a big part of the economic comeback.
So there you go. Charles Gasparino reporting from what he's hearing from congressional sources on this. He's Charles has always been very, very plugged in, and I had a lot of respect for him when I worked with him. So that range of 1.25 up to $1.5 trillion, and what he's hearing and what we had heard from, it's interesting because we had heard from the Treasury Secretary or Larry Kudlow that they thought that these infrastructure package would be separate from the new stimulus bill, that it would likely be two separate bills. What he's hearing is that it'll be combined into one. Rural broadband build out, so a 5G network would be built out across the country. I think it's incredibly important that we get broadband to those areas of the country that are most vulnerable, some of the poorest communities in this country. I'm all for that. Look, how do you not have internet this day and age? And we had so many children who, because of the pandemic, were at home not able to do virtual schooling, and they ended up having to get in their car and drive to the school where they set up Wi-Fi buses in the parking lots of the school so the parents and the kids could sit in the car and use the Wi-Fi from the bus, and they would sit there and do their virtual schooling for hours. Can you imagine how much of a nightmare that would be? Not only for the kids trying to learn in a car, but also for the parents who might have to do work from home or other things and they have to sit in the car for hours with their children. Awful, right? Rural broadband, I'm all for that. Roads, bridges. So I'm all for infrastructure, which America is crumbling. If you drive around and see these bridges, you go to Philadelphia, you see, like I mentioned, the South Street Bridge, climb underneath that thing. It's like pieces are falling on your head. We saw the dam problems in Michigan just recently. So yes, we absolutely need infrastructure, but the problem is that it really doesn't boost the economy for a long time. And a lot of these projects are not shovel-ready. We saw that under Obama. Shovel-ready projects. We know how much of a disaster that was. And also, all of these Obama cronies ended up getting money, right? That was the big criticism, is that all of these companies like Solyndra and others were lobbyists, got all these big contracts. So what's going to happen here? Are all of these, Trump cronies going to get contracts? Or Republican cronies going to get these big infrastructure contracts? I'm sure there'll be enough cronyism going around both parties. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi will get her hand in it. I'm sure Mitch McConnell would get his hands in it. I think it's just ripe for corruption. So that's just the infrastructure piece. And then the direct spending to the American people. And of course, what the president has said to the Scripps Network, that yes, another check would be coming to the American people. We just don't know what that will look like. And again, we do know that the president wants a payroll tax cut. So when the president says it will be a generous package, generous coronavirus stimulus package, I think he's referring to the idea of this payroll tax cut, which he really believes in. So your paycheck will be larger, which is great, but also some sort of a boost to get back to work. So a direct payment for you to actually get back to work so they can get you off of these unemployment benefits. I think there is going to be some movement there between Democrats and Republicans, because remember, in just a few weeks, that $600 unemployment benefits package runs out, and then we are done. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. This is the latest news. We did hear a yes from the president. We are hearing the structure coming together. now of what this stimulus package will look like and a vote coming in the next few weeks before the August recess. I think this is the most tangible amount of information that we've had on the stimulus in the past few weeks, at least since the HEROES Act was passed and went to the Senate's desk by the House of Representatives. So I am encouraged. You guys wanted good news today? I'm bringing you some good news. I think this is exactly what we need right now to get an infusion of capital into the hands of the American people. Again, Wall Street is doing just fine. We saw Wall Street yesterday rise 250 points. Why? Why? Because the Fed is right there making sure that they're buying up all that garbage and taking care of the American economy. So right now, we have so many Robinhood traders and Webull traders who are using the Webull app, and they're doing really well. I heard an economist say this is the first time that he can remember that the average trader who's using like Webull or Robinhood is doing as well as the typical day trader right now. You know why? Because the market is so protected. You can invest in stocks right now and basically just, it's almost like having a free safety net where you know you're not going to lose money. It's amazing. So Wall Street's doing just fine. And the Federal Reserve has called for more stimulus from Congress. So I think all of this is lining up for good news over the next few weeks. But for many of you, as you know, you're still waiting on your unemployment benefits. Some of you have been waiting up to 6 weeks. You still haven't received it. And a big part of this will include state and local government's assistance. And that could help these unemployment offices. They've had employees that had to lose their jobs. They're overwhelmed at their call centers. These states and local municipalities need help. And so a big piece of this package, this $1.5 trillion stimulus, will have direct aid to state and local governments. We see that that's the bargaining chip right now between Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi. He, of course, wants liability protection for businesses so they don't get sued. And the House of, and Nancy Pelosi wants direct assistance to state and local governments. So that is the update on the stimulus as it currently stands. I hope you all subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, thank you so much. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. Our daily newsletter is coming out. I'm super excited about it. It's totally free. Morninginvest.com is where you go to sign up. It's totally free. You can read it over coffee in the morning. Take you about 5 minutes to do that.